Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet?
I love people as I meet them one by one. People are just wonderful as individuals. You see the whole...
My great aspiration, my greatest ambition is to be so good. Now, in that way, I'm tiresome, as I suppose, to live with, because I want to be a fantastic human being.
I am the greatest. We're not disputing that, Cassius, but how does Sonny Liston feel about it? He can't feel but one way, and let's take everything I say and like it. Because February the 25th, I'm going to take back my job. I'm the champ. He's no champ. He's a tramp.
When you see men fall, don't laugh. Learn. Learn. Because you're on your way up. And the things that tempt people to fall, you and I are not free from that temptation.
If I'm a one-hit wonder, at least I got one, huh? At least I got something, really ain't me. The beat bumping, one song could change lives. Let's see something, one joke could save lives. We gon' keep coming, keep functioning, something out of nothing. Ball-wise, I'm top 300, get your favorite artist. I'll chop it up with mutton if they haters. Your ghost could be bludgeon if they for real. We getting money, subtract BS minus Negroes, cutting everything authentic. Stupid shit I did it, punishing myself like my mom prison. No questions, no tea, not lifted. One time for tea, being broke wasn't living. One hit wonder, at least I got.
Yo, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? Glory, praise, and honor to the Most High. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. How's everybody doing? I hope well. I hope the week so far has started off beautifully. You dig? Shout outs to my poets, my writers, my content creators, producers, painters, dancers, whoever. If you in the field of art, shout outs to you. Much love. You hear me? I got Sydney in the building. I got Rob in the building. Shout out to Rob for the intro. You feel me? I was today's years old when I heard about this particular story. But I'm gonna bring everybody up. You know what to do. Repost, share, let the people know we on. Sid, Rob, what's good? How y'all feeling? How was y'all weekends?
Yeah, better now.
Right on.
I agree. Glad I have an outlet despite all the craziness happening around the world right now. Or I mean, in the country, and I guess around the world. But yeah, it's been quite a weekend.
Right.
Yeah, I gotta thank you for the intro. My God, that's like,
Hey man, it's all love. I told you I was working on it. Trying to make some things happen over here, some changes, adding some stuff in. I definitely got a link with you afterwards. I already got Sid's what's the name? Matter of fact, if you can. Matter of fact, I'm gonna send you a message in a private chat. But real quick. Blue Whale Challenge is the discussion for tonight. Has anyone here ever heard of it?
No. I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, me neither. I got a clip that I'm gonna play. I didn't know this was a thing. I didn't even know it was out as long as it was, but apparently it's resurfaced. So let's bring this up on the big screen. I'm gonna let it rock out. And yeah, this is diabolical work. Hold on. It's like minute 32, not very long.
Listen up. There is a new challenge going around targeting your kids called the Blue Whale Challenge. I was on Facebook scrolling and I seen this. It's a social media game where they assign 50-day period tasks. And the final challenge for your child is to unalive themselves. The blue whale term comes from the beach whales, like at the end of whatever cycle, whatever period, they usually pass away. But they're targeting kids, telling kids, oh, protect yourself for safety by hitting yourself. Listen, they're saying things like cut your arms with a razor along your veins, but not too deep. Only 3 cuts. And all this other craziness. Like this lady here says she literally made a post about it last night because her son knows about it. And he was freaked out when he saw her checking his tablet. It's like he was having a panic attack from seeing something that he didn't want to see again. I don't know what's going on and why these people have come up with this outlandish ass challenge to give children. Children are thinking that this is something that they need to participate in. And kids are losing their lives. If you don't do nothing else, if you don't check your kid's phone for nothing else, you do not want to look up one day and your child done took themselves off this earth because of this bullshit that's going on social media. At this point, I think I'm about to take my child phone away. She about to have her little Apple Watch that she can call and text on. That's about it. All this access to social media and shit, I'm definitely about to cut that shit out. The Blue Whale Challenge, like y'all are so sick to come up with something like that and target children. Come on, man. Protect y'all babies, man. Protect y'all babies. It's some evil people in the world. Listen.
There was a video that I watched earlier, and it's actually been out since around 2017, 2019. That's crazy, man. I know tic-tac-toe, I know rock, paper, scissors, collect 4, dominoes, spades. I know games like that. I didn't know that they had something out that was pretty much advocating or promoting self-harm. Like, you're really telling me that people participated in this. Now, I can't remember exactly where it started. I believe they said somewhere in like Russia. Yeah, okay.
There's a 15 or 16-year-old girl in Russia. She did this herself. She posted a video of herself prior to her taking her life, and then she, I think she actually filmed herself taking her own life, and then she published that on social media. And after that, multiple girls in the same city also took their lives after watching those videos, all within like 14, 15, 16-year-old range.
How do you come up with something like that? What was the motivation behind it? As much as I sit at this desk, it never crossed my mind to say, hey, this will be a fun game. And then actually you find that there are children who participate in it. and literally take their own life because of is this supposed to be a popular trend? Is this supposed to make you like, do you go viral for dying? Is that the goal? Like, what's the message within the whole game in the first place? Like, what's y'all thoughts on that, on the game itself?
Nah, I ain't with it. The first thing I'm thinking about is my hood. We did stupid, death-defying stuff, and I was on the low end, the scary one out of everything. I'm talking about from crossing the train tracks to playing leapfrog on the highway, on the FDR Drive at that. I don't know if y'all know the FDR Drive, but it's one of the most dangerous highways in the country. And we are running back and forth across, running around, to fight people and this and that. And then as they got older, all the shootings and all this. So in my head, it was like, first thought, okay, we ran around and risked our life, everything, but it wasn't no to-do list. We wanted to prove we was tough, but not like that. And that's why, to be honest, I'm glad I didn't have social media at that age, because I definitely would have fallen for some of this stupid stuff. But I ain't with it. All day I teach to work to stop self-harm, to stop low self-esteem, to stop the self-destructiveness that we face, that the kids want to go through. So seeing this, it just makes me want to have the people around me police their kids' social media, and then make sure that I'm protecting myself from what I'm taking in on a daily basis, because anything like that to where you is designed for you to hurt yourself and then eventually kill yourself, yeah, that's out the window.
Man, I'll start off by saying this challenge is not unique. The internet challenges encouraging people to hurt themselves is definitely not new. I'm sure we all remember the Tide Pod challenge. There's another one that I just heard of recently called the sodium nitrate challenge. For those of you that don't know what sodium nitrate is, it is saltpeter. It is what they use in weapons. It is what they use in industrial cleaning stuff. When the goal of that is to drink a cup of the sodium nitrate. And so what sodium nitrate does is it basically oxidizes the oxygen in your blood and in the iron in your blood. And it basically robs your entire body of oxygen, and you suffocate, especially if you've taken too much. And like, you can survive, but it causes excruciating pain and all sorts of effects that can be deadly. So the fact that this challenge exists doesn't surprise me, sadly, but I read through that list of the tasks these people were advised to do, and it's disgusting. It's atrocious that somebody would think to disseminate this on the internet and think it's okay to allow young children to subject themselves to behaviors like that. If you're a parent, I would suggest educating yourself about it, but I will say it is very triggering. It is very disgusting behavior that they're encouraging. There's numerous examples of self-harm, requiring them to cut themselves, requiring them to watch horror videos and things that would get them comfortable with this type of behavior, encouraging them to sit on ledges to get them comfortable with being up high. And again, the last suggestion is the last command is to jump off the building. And children are so impressionable that this type of stuff can have a really, really dramatic impact on their mental health. Kids at that age do not understand that they have the autonomy to say no to something like this. And with peer pressure, kids are very, very susceptible to these types of suggestions. It is very, very dangerous for us to have this kind of stuff available to children. They've said that hundreds of children in India, Russia, and America, as well as other countries, have taken their lives as a result of this challenge alone. And that's not including all the other challenges that exist out there, like jumping out in front of a train. Like, you're supposed to stand in front of the train and play chicken with it and jump out of the way in time. They have stuff like consuming substances that are illegal or dangerous, or getting a hold of drugs, or like punching somebody in the face. Like, there's so many different challenges that incur harm on children, and these are the most susceptible groups. I didn't actually believe this statistic myself, but suicide is the 8th leading cause of death among children aged 5 to 11. 5-year-olds killing themselves is just. I have a 4-year-old. I don't understand. And then in 10 to 24 years old, it's the 2nd leading cause of death. So this is a huge problem. And the fact that this is surfacing again is terrifying. And especially with social media, the prevalence of social media, I 100% agree with that mother. Like, you need to be on top of your child's social media. You need to understand what they're looking at, who they're talking to, what groups they're on, all of these, like, overall, humans are starting to move towards private groups again. People are no longer interested in the socialized social media because it's mostly like rich people and ads now. So most people are kind of turned off from Instagram, turned off from Twitter, turned off from a lot of these other sites that used to be a social site. And so people are moving now towards public or private groups, like on Discord, like on Substack, like on the other one that I'm like Reddit or something else. But yeah, people are moving towards more like private areas. And this again puts kids at risk because, one, they don't know, you can't verify who you're talking about most of the time. Like, you could literally be talking to an adult that's pretending to be a child. I think somebody actually got arrested for distributing this to young kids. But also, if it's private, if it's not out in public, like a public Facebook post or whatever, there's no way that the parents are going to see this unless they accidentally happen upon the group that the child is talking in. So they won't even know about this until it's too late. And we hear this even for other things unrelated to suicide, like bullying and drug addictions and all kinds of other activities that kids are not telling their parents about, and the parents don't find out about until the child is hurt or passed away. So I 100% agree with this parent. And you, honestly, I think kids under the age of 18 should not have access to social media at all. Like, there are certain circumstances where maybe with parent supervision they can have one, but they should not be on these websites. These are not safe for kids. They're going to be exposed to illegal content. They're going to be exposed to violent content. They're going to be exposed to misinformation at a time when they are very fallible to falling for these types of things and do not have the world experience to differentiate between what is true and what is false. Adults even have this problem. So this is definitely another sign of why kids need to be protected and should not be allowed to have access to these sites.
We don't really talk about a lot. And shout out to Arcana. Appreciate you pulling up, sir. We don't talk about the part of the internet where self-harm is actually a thing. Like, we really have a network for just about everything that you can imagine. The things that you don't even want to imagine, they have stuff for it. There was a show on Netflix that was, it kind of reminded me of this, where they had to go on these little tasks and stuff like that and complete them. I think that as a tribe, we aren't really doing our part. You have folks that self-mutilate. There's programs for it. There's channels for it where you can go and you're literally in competition with the next person to see who has the deepest cuts or has the most creative ones. And I've never even strayed over there because I know if I start to watching that stuff, it's going to kind of mess with my head. But now that I see this particular story bringing its way back to social media, it's like now we probably need to address this, because there's folks out there that's not only depressed, but there's children who are clearly not being supervised, or there's a level of interaction that's not present for them to be looking at things like this and saying, oh, this is interesting. Let me dig a little deeper into this. Spiritually is definitely wicked. Whoever came up with the idea or has managed to successfully create a brand out of this, it's disturbing to me. Like you literally have men and women on different parts of this earth who market off of this. They see profit. They see a targeted audience that is without a specific. They don't have parents. They don't have uncles. They don't have aunts. They don't have cousins, and they're locked in on them. Remember the stream we did about the dude that said he's identified as a sex offender or something like that, but he knows how to control it. So you like I don't know. This is really bothersome to me. Like, how do you are we just giving too much access away? Are we just too reliant on social media? Have we essentially created the monster that we're facing? Because like, if you didn't have all these apps, and if all these kids didn't have all of this access to them, how would they go about dealing with their feelings and their emotions and their confusion, their pain, their struggle? Who would they turn to? You get online, you push a button, somebody's name pops up, they talk, they sound like they're relatable to you, but like you said, they don't really understand that what they're talking about, it's not necessarily about accommodating you in the ways that you would like it to. For them, it's something a little more sinister, but you're too young to understand that.
I mean, I think every day, you ask a kid real quick, oh, if they told you to jump off a bridge, would you jump off a bridge? And then the first thing, no, I wouldn't. But at the end of the day, they would. I mean, we at an age right now, like for real, to where they stop reading, first of all. So there's no critical thinking unless, and this is not even a rich or poor thing. This is more of a whoever's in your corner. there's no more reading. There's spell check, so you ain't even gotta write no more. Now you got Chat GPT. I think we back in the stage of exactly where they wanted, because there's only groupthink, and it was like this before that. To be honest, I remember listening to the tough people in the neighborhood. If they was tough, if they was known for fighting, if they was known for shooting, if they was known for stabbing or whatever, you took their word. If they did 20 years in prison, if they did 10 years in prison, you took their word. You just took their word for it. Even to the point where if they told you what you can and can't do, you believed it. So I ain't gonna say it's so much different now, because at the end of the day, it was a lack of supervision then and guidance. But the only thing now is that everybody has that little phone and that tablet, and everybody has access. So again, we was like, you had to go see the body. You want to go see the body? You want to go use drugs? You had to go way down the block. But now you can swipe your finger and see anything. And since the internet, I remember we had the public channels in New York. I forget what they call it, but it was the local channels where you could see stuff. You wait till the late night and you could see stuff that you couldn't normally see on TV, and we waited for that. But now it's willy-nilly, so you don't know. So if you're not policing, we deal with these cases all the time where look what our children is looking at on social media. Did you know? Did you know this? Did you know that? Yeah, nah, it was worse than PBS, Squish. Shout out to you. It was on. They had all of the sex stuff on at night. You know what I'm saying? All the crazy stuff. But now we deal with these cases to where it's like, okay, the kids is coming. Like it's a new term now, 6'7". Everybody's saying 6'7", 6'7". Now you go around there 6'7", 6'7", 6'7", and we like, yo, what is that? And they said it was in a rap song, and whoever said 6'7", now the kid, we don't know. Nobody knows what it means, but all the kids is running around saying 6'7". So whatever the trend is, if you're not policing your child, if you're not guiding them, if you're not, and they savvy too now, because you can't just, you can look like I know people. I had 3 and 4 accounts. I got 5 and 6 accounts. I keep getting banned because they keep finding out my age. This stuff, a lot of times, parents could police their kids' social media and still don't know what they got going on if they're not tech savvy, or if the child is not honest, because you can hide all of that. Like you could. So with all of this stuff out right now, it ain't that it's different. I would say that is less critical thinking, because remember, we from that era of fight the power. We from that era, you're headed for self-destruction. We had all that. We had the conscious rappers. We had NWA, even though they was wilding, they had some social raps, conscious raps. Right? And they got us to a point where there's none of that. And everything is a circus to where it's no. And you either got the parents who is not watching because they kicking it, or you got the parents that's working. And you know, we still like where I'm at, we stop arguments all day. And what I realize is that kids, it don't matter. A lot of times, kids are either nice or mean. It don't matter, rich, poor, black, white, Chinese, whatever. A lot of times, kids is mean. And if you don't check that, or if you don't teach your kids to be nice, they're going to go into a world to where they just meet mean people, because some kids is just nasty like that. It don't matter whether they got money or not. And then now also you got, we at a point to where the phones is in the school. So guess what? If your kid don't get it from you, they're going to get it from the streets. So with the media, this just adds to it, because a lot of times we want to prove how tough we are. We want to prove, we just want attention. So if you're not getting attention, you're going to get it from somewhere. And if that's something that pays you attention, you feel like you're getting attention, a lot of times you're going to act on it. And in our cases, a lot of times we don't react until it's too late. Because again, I ain't never heard about the Blue Whale Challenge or whatever. But at the same time, I guess it's a real thing. And we know for a fact, the internet, you can look at whatever you want. You can look at whatever you want. I don't care. Because guess what? I might could block it on your phone. They go to Sydney phone and get it. Might block it on Sydney phone. You might come on my phone and get it. Like we had a kid. I had parents all the time. Man, my kid is 4 or 5 years old. They know how to unlock my phone and and I don't be knowing what they're looking at. So it's just a time where you got to step up, especially with the distractions of what the government is doing. Anytime you got a felon, a convicted felon, you know what I'm saying, in the White House who has not changed their ways. Anytime you got all of these people, if you look, and this is a little off topic, but you see his spiritual advisor just got arrested. You know what I'm saying? So with all these distractions, people looking for attention, that could easily be a rabbit hole. Kids get pulled there.
And women are particularly susceptible to this, young women, I would say, because one, they are often more attached to like their self-esteem issue. Like they have, they're more connected to self-esteem issues. They're more concerned about their appearance. They're more concerned about how their peers see them. They're more concerned about their popularity. And so women in particular, and also they're more likely to be victimized in other ways by older men. So it's not, unfortunately, it's not really a surprise to me, partially because I used to be part of these communities. When I was in high school, I fell into some of these communities. For example, there is a community, there are, especially through like Tumblr and other types of posting sites, Reddit, I got into the pro Anna communities, which is pro eating. Ooh, what is happening? Can you guys hear me? It just went blank.
You good?
Okay. So there's pro Anna, which is a pro anorexia and pro bulimia community, where they encourage people to and inspire people to become as skinny as possible, to give people ideas of how to restrict food, how to hide it from their parents, how to hide it from their family members, how to trick the doctors into thinking that they're heavier than they actually are. All sorts of tactics to encourage people to become unhealthy and dangerously unhealthy. There are still social media influencers that I have seen online that are dangerously unhealthily skinny, and they still promote it as a good thing. And this is the type of stuff that women can very, very, very easily fall into. I fell into that for a little bit because I felt deeply uncomfortable with how I looked. And I wasn't even that, like, I wasn't overweight. I was a healthy weight, and I still didn't feel good enough because of what I was seeing online. I also fell into the self-harm trap throughout high school and into college. I was self-harming. I would look up ways to do things to myself to fulfill that urge to self-harm. And it was very easy to find that content. It's not difficult for kids to come across this type of information, especially when they're on information sharing websites. It's no surprise that 2007 is around the time that the internet took off and became very, very widely available to most people. Suicide rates for children and young adults aged 10 to 24 increased by 62% from 2007. So that went from 6.8 per 100,000 individuals to, in 2021, 11 per 100,000 individuals. And it increased about, in 2023, it increased 16% from the year before, and 8 to 9% are LGBT community members. So it does not surprise me that this type of content is effective because it plays at your psychology. It messes with your mind. And with kids that don't understand the repercussions of these types of things, they don't understand that this can be permanent. Like, some of these kids haven't even reached the age where they recognize that death is permanent. They are thinking or hoping deep down that it's going to give them the attention that will fulfill that deep unhappiness that they have. And it's a cry for help. They don't actually want to die, but they don't know that. They don't recognize that they don't actually want to not be on the planet anymore. What they want is to feel a reprieve from whatever they're going through in their life. And if you feel that way, if you feel deeply uncomfortable with who you are, or deeply like disassociated from your peers, feeling like nobody cares about you, feeling like your parents don't listen to you, your teachers don't listen to you, it's very, very easy to fall prey to someone on social media who's promising you attention and notoriety for following that kind of thing. Because if they don't feel like they're getting any attention from their family and from their friends, if somebody else on the internet is like, comes in and be like, hey, I understand you, I know how you feel, like, do this with me, like, we're in this together, they're going to fall for that so fast. That is such a common reason why these kids fall prey to people on the internet, because it gives them a sense of belonging, even if it's a bad thing. That's why there's so many people that are attracted to all of these really horrific groups of people that are promoting criminal behavior and, frankly, egregious treatment of other humans, because it gives them a sense of belonging. A couple years ago, or not a couple years ago, it was like probably a year ago, I did an investigation for myself into white supremacy, where it comes from, neo-Nazism, like why, because I just could not understand why anyone would want to be like that. Why would you want to be so hateful that you could actively promote killing people just because of their skin color? And I found that across the board, these people join these groups because it gave them a feeling of belonging. And all of this behavior is a precursor to that type of thinking. If they don't turn to self-harm, they turn to harming others. And so even if our kids don't fall victim and take their own lives, they could still embody this in how they treat other people. And they could end up turning into individuals that are willingly harming other people for the feeling of pleasure and belonging. So even if these people don't take their own life, they can still do immense amount of damage to the people around them.
It's a sad state to be in. You want to belong to something. You want to feel important. You want to feel like your life has purpose and meaning to it. But a lot of your growth is being diluted with social media, with peer pressure, with ideologies that are being tugged and pulled like it's a game between different groups of people for whatever reason. And this is just being a child. Like, most children are forced to grow up before they even have the option to even be kids. These kids don't know what it's like to be kids. You've been given technology right at your doorstep. We came into it. I remember the beeper pagers and gigapets and stuff like that. So for me personally, I'm not going to be so confused about how you use apps to hide other apps. Like, I know that you can do this to cover up this, But a lot of people don't know that. So you have children out here that are getting bullied, or they're not really feeling like they belong at school, because I don't care what day and age we're in, you're always going to have that experience in school where there's going to be the popular kids, the jocks, the ones that sit alone away from everybody. You're always going to have that whole setup. I don't think that's ever going to go away. And having access to Twitter, Facebook, and all that, it don't matter if you sit alone or not now, because guess what? TikTok allows you to associate with other people who feel the way that you feel. So all you got to do is plug in and start typing and texting to somebody like you, and that becomes your entire world and identity. That's dangerous. Now, as far as everything that you both said, I 1000% agree. It's absolutely terrible where we're at. Unfortunately, damn, I don't even want. What was that word? It was doom. It was doom something. We just talked about that. I don't want to sound like that, but the way that we make certain things popular, it's like, how? Like you're 40, 50 years old. How do you not see something like this on social media and say, "Oh, we gotta get rid of this. This has to go. We can't have this." Like, it's obvious that this is going to be destructive, but you can just readily walk away from it and act like it doesn't exist. The numbers that you just provided about suicide and the age range between, that's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. But see, stuff like this don't really get covered a lot. Why do you think we don't really speak on this? Or why isn't it really something that's, here we are, see this, be concerned? Does this just only apply to people who is going through it? Are we saying that we don't have no responsibilities morally at all? So if I scroll right now on my device here and I see these little kids up here doing God knows what for the validation from grown ass men, I'm not supposed to report that shit. I'm not supposed to say nothing. I'm not supposed to try to contact the parents or whoever. Hey, look, you might want to check your daughter. You might want to check your son for this. This ain't going to end well. I'm not supposed to say nothing about it. Like, what are we doing with this?
I looked it up, and there are obviously social media sites trying to do something about it. But they're saying that part of the problem is that they're using AI to do this. They're not using actual people. And it can't tell the difference between sarcasm and true ideology. And so it's not able to differentiate between the two. Not to mention, most people, when they talk about hurting themselves or killing themselves, they aren't going to say it outright. They're not going to write like, "Oh, I'm about to kill myself today, like, bye." Usually they hint at it, and it's based on like what they're looking up, but they're not saying it directly. And so unless they say those words, chances are AI is not going to detect it. They're not going to detect the nuances of these kids hinting at how they're feeling. because they could easily say like, I give up. Like, I'm so tired of this. I can't deal with this. Like, these are all signs that people are reaching their wits end, but that could very easily be interpreted as somebody who's just like annoyed and fed up. Like, it could also be seen as something else. So a lot of this stuff isn't being picked up by AI, and it's going under the radar. And then also, a lot of the time, even if kids are confronted with this, it's embarrassing. Like, if somebody finds out that you were trying to kill yourself, it's deeply embarrassing, because you don't want to have to explain to somebody that I was just about to give up and take my life. Like, I remember when my mom confronted me with I had this notebook that I wrote all of my like self-deprecating thoughts into, and when I was 12, I had planned to take my life. And my mom found that notebook where I was talking about these things, and she confronted me with it. And the only thing I could say to her was like, it's not real. Like, I made it up. It was just because I was so embarrassed and terrified to tell her the truth. I didn't feel comfortable letting her know that I felt that way, because in part of it was her fault, but that's beside the point. But if these kids are even confronted by their teachers or their parents or their doctors, a lot of them aren't going to be honest about it, because who wants to be honest with somebody about the fact that they wanted to take their life? Like, the emotion that the other person is going to show could be uncomfortable. Just the things that you might be forced to do can be dissuade you from telling people, because it's like, I don't want to have to go to a treatment center. I don't want to have to go talk to a doctor. I don't want to have to go to a therapist or psychologist or whatever. Like, there are things that will prevent these kids from even voicing how they're feeling. It's especially if you are also pairing this with like depression, anxiety, an underlying mental disorder. Maybe you're addicted to something, or you're as I said, like, you have an eating disorder. All of these things can be very humiliating to reveal to people, and it's not something people are willing to face unless they genuinely want the help. And so even if they do catch this content, it could still fall under the radar, because, I mean, it's not their fault. Parents and teachers and people across the board are overworked and like are struggling to make it by as it is. Like, adults themselves are struggling with these same exact feelings of worthlessness and helplessness and whatnot. And oftentimes they don't have the time to investigate fully what exactly their child is looking at and looking into, and who they're being friends with, and what types of things that they're saying. And it can be very easy for a busy parent to miss these signs before it's too late. One of the charts that I was looking at was saying that boys do dominate in terms of suicide success, but they are saying that one child under 13 dies of suicide every 5 days. That is wild. And that is from 1999 to 2015. So that doesn't even factor in the recent 10 years and the increased rate that we have been seeing. And as I said, kids are very, very good at hiding the things that they don't want their peers and their parents to know about. I've heard so many different cases of a child getting bullied relentlessly, and the parents never found out about it until the child ended up passing away, either from their own hand or from the bullying itself. It's, as I said, you have to be very, very diligent as a parent to catch stuff like this, especially with teenagers, because they're already going through emotional turmoil, and they already are like, I don't want to be around you. I want to go in my room. I just want to be on my phone. I don't care about you. And parents could mistake the feelings of, I'm about to take my life, with, oh, they're just being a teenager. Like, I remember my parents saying that to me. They thought that, you're just being a teenager. You're just like, blah, 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 blah. Things get better. Like, you don't know what it's like, and life gets better. And they give me all those like stupid cliches. And I never remember it helping me. And that can even intensify the child's feelings of helplessness. If their parents and their teachers dismiss their feelings and write them off and just ignore the types of things that they're feeling, or diminish the types of things that they're feeling. This can contribute to that feeling of depression and the desire to take your life. So it's incredibly dangerous for us to assume that we can pick up on these signs beforehand and that it's a matter of just detecting it before it happens. This has to be a whole spectrum approach where parents need to talk to their children. They have to get off their phones and start being there for their kids. They have to educate their kids early about these feelings and let them know, like, you might feel these things. You might feel like nobody cares about you in school. Like, you might feel like you don't have friends, but that is not a reason to give up on your life. There are ways that you can make new friends. There are ways that you can get out of bullying situations. There are other ways to become happy again, to create a better life for yourself. But because these kids, again, don't have the life experience that adults have, and they don't know what resources are out there, and they don't realize that they can have these things fixed, they think that the only method that they have is just to leave. And I think that's something that we really have to work on, is really education, getting that education out there and showing these children that there are resources available to them, even if their parents or teachers aren't able to help them. There are obviously online resources, like real online resources, helplines, hotlines, stuff like that can help you. There are group therapies. There are therapies with individuals. There are so many different things that you can do to get help, even medication. But a lot of these kids don't even feel like they can go to an adult about this because of that humiliation, because of that fear, and because of that, as I said, like, some of the parents just don't even believe the kids. So yeah, we can't rely on the tech giants to do anything about this, because they can't. They don't care to put resources into this. They just obviously want to keep relying on AI to do everything. And that, again, puts our kids in danger, because it won't be able to interpret all the stuff that is put out there. And if anything, it's going to make people more and more covert about it. They're just not going to put it in those words because they're afraid of that being tagged. Like, there's a reason you can't just look up, like, pictures of children on Google. Like, they have terminology for that so they can beat the algorithm and hide in plain sight. All of these disgusting groups of people have found ways around those types of algorithms, and we can't assume that AI is going to be able to do the job that parents and teachers should be doing. I mean, honestly, parents. Teachers are kind of like on the sideline helping, but parents need to do this. And us being distracted on our own social media sites can endanger the lives of our kids.
Shout out to you, Squish, for overcoming all your obstacles, man. I appreciate that. Appreciate you being honest, man. I understand. As much as I can possibly, I appreciate you for being here. We're in a hypocritical society. We say we don't like murderers, we promote them every day. Oh boy, what's his name? Was it Ted Bundy? They had, and we talked about this in multiple episodes. Was it Ted Bundy? One of them guys. I hate even saying their names, but he had the whole Netflix series. People was dressing up as him like Halloween. My first thought was, what about family. Like if I was a family member, and I see that a member of a family or somebody that got hurt by that guy, and I seen somebody like wearing their costume, I was wondering all the time what I do. Last week I went down the TV Guide channel. I seen like at least 5 murder shows. My neighbor murdered, did a serial killer next door, snapped, did this. We celebrate this stuff. It sells. That's number one. First of all, it sells. Also, it's a big distraction. We celebrate. We in an era right now, we love watching people get hurt. We had something simple as the crate challenge where you could break your neck. And I ain't gonna lie, I grew up, I love violence. I love the more violent of the movie. I don't even know if that's a word. I won't even watch the movies if they're not violent. Like I don't really have time for a love story or whatever. In my head, that's just movies, right? But it's all programming. We celebrate the killers. We celebrate everything we say that we are too morally bound to not celebrate is celebrated from the radio to the TV. We looked at Soul, like you said, Deep. You got all these shows, The Hunger Games. You got Survivor. Even that, you got to live out in the woods and go through the elements and punish yourself in order to get. And then you get to a point too where anybody that's effective in stopping that nonsense and calling that stuff out, they get ostracized. And if they're real effective, they get wiped out. They get disappeared. So your message just goes, your messages vanish. All of the hard work you did just vanishes once they knock the head off the snake, whatever. And we promote this stuff. Again, it's nothing new. Roblox. Even right now, talking, you don't know who these kids is talking to. They play these games. They're talking to anybody. And now you can talk to people from around the world. You don't know their age. All you know is you just got a bunch of people. Well, we all playing Fortnite. It ain't nothing. They cursing. They talking about each other's mother. They talking about what they're gonna see what they're gonna do when they see each other. They hooking up, setting up meetings. So with all of this, it ain't really nothing new. It's just new to us. And even as we talking about it, where we go, we working to prevent it. At the end of the day, when some people get wind of it, they're gonna be on it. It's just like, I never forget, Obama said, well, we can't stop the mass shootings. And I was like, yeah, you're right, but why would you say that? We can't stop, like, not we want to stop them, we're gonna do everything we can. We can't stop them, and look, since they've been up. You know what I'm saying? And Sydney, you're right. People want attention. Anything for attention. And I think as a child, like Squish said, he was cutting himself. I was always that child to where, well, everybody screamed at me, maybe they don't love me. So what if I ain't here no more? I bet they'll love me then. Or, well, I'll just prove them right. They don't love me, da 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 da. Until I realized that I wasn't listening. And when I didn't like being chastised for not listening, and I realized I was supposed to be screamed at, I was lucky. But in this time right now, well, nobody loves me. What if I ain't here? Oh, I bet I'll get their attention. And then you got the other side that feel they're invincible. Yeah, well, nothing's gonna kill me. Watch this, ha ha ha. I could get away with this and that. And this stuff is promoted. They was eating the cinnamon. No, it could kill you. This guy told people to drink bleach. You want to kill COVID? Drink bleach. All of this stuff it sells. Also, what I'm thinking with the conspiracy me, This is just another way to get people out of here. Like I don't know why it's such a crazy push to save resources. And I hear that the water is drying up and the climate and this and that. But at the same time, this is what I know. Everything be sweet till it happen to you. Then the rules change. Everybody, oh yeah, I'll follow this. I'll ride or die. Da, 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 da. And then when it happened to you or your people, now you want to campaign or whatever. We forget everything. Especially in our culture, you could be slap thugging. Yeah, I'll drill. I'm gonna go do this, that, da, 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 da. And then when you get hurt, oh, he ain't did nothing to nobody. Blah, blah, blah. Wait, he was thugging. Like, what happened to or the snitch culture? Yeah, I'm a rap. I'm a ride to the. Then you rat. Now the rats is getting pardons, and then you realize, wait, the rats was getting pardons years ago. The rats was the feds and all that years ago, and now not only is the rats is making millions of dollars. So with this, at the end of the day, you could go from being a nobody to a hero to somebody because they feel like you stood up on what you believed in. Look at the social media guys that was jumping over the Dunkin' Donuts counters and trying to take the donuts and jumping over the restaurant counters or jumping on and robbing or running out in the middle, stopping traffic, or they even pranking people now. They running up on serious people, pranking them up. I'll punch you in your face, da 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 da. And then when the person gets serious or they be about to pull a gun, then now, oh, it's just a prank. I ain't mean that. Wooty woo. So this is the stuff that sells in this country and clearly in those other countries because of what it looked to be. And I don't never really trust now what they say. This started in Russia and all of these other countries. It was slow to been over here since 2016. But this is the stuff that gets attention. That's what somebody want. And again, it'd be cool until it happened to you. Then the rules change. Now you want to do the GoFundMe. Now you want to change the law. Now you can't stand it. But at the end of the day, when it was in your head, I mean, when it wasn't impacting you, it was just like this off topic too. But the fentanyl, everything was cool when the drugs was in our hood. But when the fentanyl doubled back, now it's a national crisis and all that. They ain't say nothing about the crack and all this and all that. They ain't even say nothing that we know that the government put the guns and the drugs in the hood. They ain't say nothing. We know who was dismantled. We know that the CIA did all of this stuff illegally. They were dropping random boxes. So this just adds to it. And I think that at the end of the day, there are some psychotic people who probably feel like, hey, you know what? That might be a good idea. Because again, that gets one less person out your hair, one less person who is trying to change things. And it's unfortunate. But if you look right now on your Netflix, if you look on your TV, all of this stuff that we supposed to be reading the Bible, we supposed to be reading the Quran. Not only all of this stuff is promoted, we engage in it, we indulge in it. And I think with that, we have to do a better job as parents and teach our kids positive self-esteem, teach our kids how to say no, especially in front of influencers, teach our kids how to interact, teach our kids how to ask questions, teach our kids to trust their gut when stuff don't feel right, teach our kids that the cool thing to do is be home. The cool thing, I was looking at some shows the other day, and we don't salute the kids who from the hood who stay out of trouble. I was thinking that for years, like a kid could be in the hood, we'll salute them. They got shot, did this prison in and out. But the kid who stayed right there in the hood and didn't get in trouble, we don't salute them. So here again, now it's hitting our turf when we could have been protecting about this, and teaching about this. And now it's at our hood, and now we gotta go. Because what's gonna happen is, and unfortunately, bad news is good news, right? So now, the Blue Whale Challenge, now you're gonna hear this, you're gonna hear it. And guess what? As much as we try to prevent it, there's gonna be another outlet that's going to promote it, even if they don't mean to, because again, this is a time where bad news is good news.
What a wicked, wicked, wicked world we live in. Y'all really that money hungry, that bloodthirsty, that you would create something like this for the annihilation of a population. All of it has its own purpose.
Misery love company, bro.
That's a bar. That is a bar. And this is my take on to anybody who, they feel in a certain type of way about their own life. You can't be defined by the view of someone who doesn't see out the window. And what I mean by that is your walk is not directly linked to someone else's. You might be in a divine timing where you come across them, but what's for you requires you to have a level of confidence and self-assurance that can't be muffled out by the ways of the world. Parents understand that. They should understand that. Most of them, when I was growing up, they understood the assignment. That's why they didn't tie their value or their identity to their cars or their objects. Right now, what I see is a bunch of adults who are more focused on the internet than their house. Like, you're in the house, but the majority of your life is on here. And when you look up, like, my eyes kind of go from camera to the room, and it's like the sun is down, it's dark, it's nighttime. I remember it was just baking outside. The sun was scorching. Everybody was actively walking up and down the street, driving their cars. Now it's bedtime damn near. And that's how easily time slip away from you when you be stuck in that phone. And your family was sitting there across from you for 2 hours, talking, laughing, joking. You were in your phone the entire time. You done missed the whole experience. The photo opportunities, jokes. You know how much I reflect on stuff like that. You can't get that back. Once it's gone, it's gone. And if there are any children who watch this video back or watch this stream, I would say it's okay to be vulnerable. Do not go through this life keeping anything in. I don't care if you need to reach out to me. I don't care if you need to reach out to somebody at your school. I don't care. Like,
I'm here as well. I do have a background in psych too and an understanding. So if anyone ever needs it, I'm here.
we need to normalize people being able to speak freely and openly about what's going on inside, because all of this, you're corny and you're clown and you're weak and you're not a man and you're supposed to be this way, and we got to stop that. We really got to stop that. It's easy to forget that there's people who are going through stuff. And I encourage you to open up to somebody. Don't let social media and your favorite rappers and singers and the trolls of the internet and the folks that get in the comment section arguing over dumb, don't let them people sit there and tell you can't do that. Yes, you absolutely can. And matter of fact, I encourage you to do it. They're the ones that's corny. They're the ones that's lame. They're the ones that's miserable. You got too much going on right now for you to let your life slip away like that. And for these parents, stop taking life so for granted. This shit is short. There are people out here that don't really care about us at all. And they going out of their way to exterminate humanity little by little in their own way. You just don't see it. It is very demonic. The principalities of this world are in full operation all the time. This is just another highlight reel for it. Anybody who could conjure up this type of game, that is from a place of iniquity and mirth and heaviness and sadness and bitterness and anger and hatred, and that is not godly at all. Slowly but surely, Arcana, slowly up but surely, chip away at the person's self-esteem, and chip away at their confidence, chip away at their identity. The thing with Roblox, they suing the guy who was investigating them because the content within Roblox is not for children. It's for adults, and you have adults participating in these games, but you're trying to villainize the guy that's calling you out for it. Everywhere you turn, the wolf is out there. Then we got to consistently be proactive. I know you're lazy, you're tired, you spend most of your day on your feet at the job, but so what? You had kids. You have a responsibility to them and everybody else. Anything y'all want to add on to this before we close out?
I have a couple things. One, I found an article talking about the individual that created this challenge in the first place. He was 21-year-old Philippe Boudickin, and he was arrested. He ended up spending 3 years in prison, which I think is ridiculous. He definitely should have gotten more. But basically, this is a direct quote from him. There are people, and then there is biodegradable waste. I was cleansing our society of such people. Sometimes I think that it's wrong, but in the end, I had the feeling I was doing the right thing. They said about him that he liked computers. He was an aspiring producer of witch house music, which has occult themes within the music. He was a former psychology student, and the impression given by the media is that he used highly developed tactics to manipulate teenagers into killing themselves. He created the game in 2013 under the name F7, which combined the start of his name and the last 2 digits of his phone number. And he used this because he felt like he had power over these teenagers. So this is exactly the type of person that would be trying to target children online. And we cannot forget that children are no longer being influenced just by their peers. We're not in an era now where kids just go read kid magazines and go to the kids section in a bookstore. Like, they have access to anything that exists out there indiscriminately. And children now idolize R-rated adult celebrities. I have seen 4 and 5-year-olds twerking. And that's like the least of it. They value this content even more than people in their own age groups. 5-year-olds are being sexualized because of the things that they see around them. And obviously, they're also getting into other types of content. And so as parents, one, you have to start conversations about this. You have to point out these types of people and point out what's wrong with those types of behaviors and why those should not be done by their children, why they shouldn't dress certain ways, why they shouldn't act certain ways. If children seem to be interested in these types of challenges, engage with them, start a conversation. Just don't brush it off and be like, oh yeah, it's just a kid thing, whatever. Understand where their mind is at and where they're getting this information, because that could literally mean the difference between life and death for that child. You also have to be a friend. Like, if you do allow your child to have social media, be on that social media as well. Have them as a friend. Know who they're friends with, who they're talking to, what they're interested in, what they're reposting, because it gives you an opportunity to, again, understand what's going on inside their mind, and also see the types of people that could be a risk to your child. And in general, like, parents themselves should not be engaging in challenges and pranks, especially when it features their child, because not only does this encourage their children to follow in their footsteps and participate in potentially risky behavior online, but it can also hurt their child physically and emotionally. Like, there was an egg crack challenge where they'd like crack an egg on the kid's head as a joke. And even stuff like that can erode the child's feelings of security with you. It can make them feel like they can't trust you, that you just want to hurt them, that you're just doing it for views. I have seen some incredibly sad interactions between a parent and a child where the child was begging her mom, please stop putting me on social media. It feels like you don't care about me and you're more interested in your social media. And the mom told her daughter to her face, well, our relationship doesn't mean anything if you don't allow me to post about it. Like, how can people treat the children that they're bringing into this world like that and make them feel like they're valueless unless they're able to get views and clicks on a video that their mom is putting out? We have to start associating people's value with who they are and not what they can get you. Because right now we're making it seem like our kids are just another commodity. And when people believe that they're a commodity, they also think that they're valueless if they have no purpose. So it's really, really, really important for parents to be on top of what their kids are doing, who their kids are hanging out with, and the types of ideology that the kid is bringing back with them. I have a poem that I want to end with. I want to let Rob talk, but I really want to read this one because it talks about finding that value and finding a reason to keep living. So I thought it would be a really good poem to end with. But yeah, I want to let Rob talk first.
No, go ahead, sir. No, I'm always for that. Let's go.
You want me to read it?
Oh yeah, go. You good? You
good? So this is called. This is actually one of the first poems I wrote when I started to Be like, all right, I'm going to start writing poetry for a living. So it's called How to Fight. Punching ferociously, but somehow not skimming the surface. Only just barely touching, grazing for meaning, aching in anger for peace. Hands meant for tending are too broken for puzzles, never mind mending those networks of fragile fissures lighting up our heads. Yet, to our tangles of thoughts, we use scissors, and our sore fingers embrace love like shots to our livers. Reject our sciency satire. The path is all but set, to appease self-fulfillment demons, but then forget. Precociousness between the eyes becomes precociousness between the thighs, while slivers make slaves of our souls. Damn it, grasping for, gasping for, semblances of regulation, while agitation fuels imagination. How can you do this? What is this cruel cerebral mist? Faithlessness of foolish unfettered fists, carelessly casting that wasteful wish. Why dare you shatter? Why dare you challenge the reason you matter? Disobeying your thoughts is a sacrifice for naught, only feeding the depthless hurt, only heeding an organic past of memory ingrained, only seeding gardens to resent. These demons cannot receive your harvest nor pestilence. They only leave you on the fence. Why on earth am I still here? Am I even worth a pretty pence? Hence, one becomes fraught with a plague of insistence, drained of persistence, fiddling idly in dissidence, fueled by fevers of lies, breakouts of blasphemy, and insistent cries, internal language brightly beckoning for plaster and glitter, desirous for the emptiness inside. Your lackluster infrastructure feeds eruptions and forced ruptures. You dare challenge your status quo? No? Look with eyes wide open. Go directions for which you're hoping. Deny not, balk not, with hearts half frozen, as you can only begin with all 10 toes dipped in. Fight for your worthiness. Bide for your happiness. Know for whom you dress. Herd not with the rest. Dare to break wide open, to truly bleed your red. For without truly living your life, you are only good as dead.
Straight up. Yeah, I'm gonna say this, man. I'm here for whoever feel like they struggling, feel like they're alone. Only thing I don't have is no money. Tell you that straight now, especially if you feel like you want to call scheming. Because if I help you today, what you're gonna do in 30 days, and also you gotta appreciate the work people do to get where they at. And if you feel like they got it, you don't know what they went through to get it. And even if I got money, that's not gonna solve the problems if you're not doing anything to get right. And then also, that's the lane I chose. So, but we could talk about solutions, life-oriented solutions every day. And with that, I want you to know, especially the young people, y'all are not alone. It feels like it, but you're not. And 9 out of 10 times, what you're going through, somebody has been through it before. So the best thing you can do is speak up and let somebody you trust know how you feel. Because you'd be surprised how many adults, even me at 45, get depressed and feel some kind of way. And we learn how to push. Shout out to Chef for overcoming your obstacles. And I hope everything is well for you and yours. But kids, y'all not alone. Adults, y'all not alone. Learn how to love yourself. Learn how to tune out the negativity. Learn how to balance to when to cut the social media off, cut the TV off, cut the radio off. Learn how to live in your own space with yourself, and then you'll be able to get around people and know how to deal with them so you can have productive relationships instead of toxicity. Turn off all of the negativity. I had to turn off the news. I've been turning off the news for the last 3 weeks because I'm just tired of hearing about all of the drama and the politics. People are starving until they come on and say that they're working to do something about that. I really don't want to hear, because everything right now, what's going on with the government and all that, ain't my cup of tea. But you are loved. You are not alone. Read books, study history, acknowledge your mistakes, celebrate your wins. When you're making the mistakes, it's okay. We've all made them. Don't do it again if you can, and check yourself every day. And when it comes time to changing your behavior and changing your thought process, remember that it's a 24/7 activity. It doesn't happen overnight. You're not going to wake up and change overnight. But after a while, if you're feeling in a slump, you can work your way out of it and make sure that not only that you don't go back into those depressions again, that you don't surround yourself with people that helped you go into those things. Because the one thing that we like to do is see people struggle. And a lot of times we want people doing good, but not as good as they are, or we don't want them to surpass you. You can't get up. You can't get into that. You got to find a way for yourself. Do things you love doing, as long as they're not hurting yourself or hurting others. Find something to study, play instruments, learn a new language, try a different sport. Surround yourself with your loved ones. Surround yourself with people who like solving problems, with people who have problems that could give you something, and not just say, well, you all right because I was there. I was there saying, you're doing better than me. No, that's not good enough. Learn psychology, facts. Turn on positive stuff, balance out. I love my music, whatever, but at the certain times I gotta listen to jazz. Certain times I gotta listen to R&B, because you can't be thugging all the time. You know what I'm saying? So learn how to do little things, because what I learned over time, most of it is a mindset. If your mind begins to crash, often you follow. So train ways to see your triggers, to where when you feel like you're going in that mode, find how to get out of it on your own, because you can't depend on people. Sometimes we lock into people. Oh, you help me do better, so I got to call you 24/7. No, you don't. You got to find it in yourself, because what if I'm not here one day? You got to find it in yourself. Find ways to be able to push through your problems and make sure that you don't have them no more. And again, too, if you're an adult or a teenager and you know you've been through it, see if you could help somebody younger than you not go through it. That's why I started being a school counselor, because I realized that a lot of the things that I took was backwards. I was in the hood. I didn't have to do none of that stupid stuff. Nobody put a gun in my head and made me do that. So I wanted to come back, and I realized in a lot of cases I'm too late. But every day I go, I push to make sure that one of those kids, at least one of them, don't have to go through it like I did. And that gives me peace of mind, because I know that I put my all in to help these kids have a better life than I did. And I'm lucky in that way. And when I see their smiles, that's what helped me keep going. I realized over time, and especially with my family, that even if I'm not needed, I'd rather be here than not. And with that, I want to let y'all know that y'all are priceless. No, you cannot be replaced. There is no, what if you do something to hurt yourself, we're all going to hurt. And I never seen nobody dead come back. So don't even put us in a position like that. And that's also a note to self, where I'm learning I'd rather be here than not, because it's still a lot of work for me to do. So you're priceless. You can't be replaced. You are loved, even if it don't feel like it. And the last thing is, the person that's telling you what you don't want to hear, 99 to 100% of the time, is the person that loves you. A lot of times we get mad because they're telling us the truth, especially about ourselves, and you want to disassociate with that person. But a lot of times, as long as they are being constructive with their criticism of your ways, that is the person that you need to listen to. Don't be a yes man. Don't be following the people that just tell you anything because they feel some type of way. Gravitate to the people that see you, they know you, and they only want the best for you. And that's how a lot of times we can make it out.
I want to add on one additional thing to what you said. My psychologist had said this to me years ago, and it stuck with me. Part of the reason why people want to take their life is because they want a reprieve from the pain that they feel. If you pass away, you won't get the opportunity to feel that relief. The only way you can feel true relief from depression, from these experiences, is to be alive to feel it. And so it's worth pushing through and living to a point where you can actually feel that sense of relief and that sense of happiness again. And so give yourself the chance to feel that happiness again. And everything else that Rob said, you said that splendidly. Your life is very, very worth it.
My thoughts and prayers go out to the community. My thoughts and prayers go out to Chef Arcana. Like Rob has said initially, you shared something here that a lot of people wouldn't have, and I appreciate that. That takes a lot of balls, man. Respect to you. I'm glad you're still here with us, and to Chef, my prayers go out to you and your fam, bro. With humans, everything seems to be impossible. With God, all things are possible. So I send one up for you and your folks, and appreciate y'all for sharing y'all thoughts in the comment section, for consistently engaging with us. We love the feedback. We appreciate it. We embrace it and welcome it. I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's show. Me and Sydney will be spinning back tomorrow. See y'all on the AM and in the evening, Lord willing. If you need to reach out, you know where we are. Enjoy the rest of your night, your week. If I don't get a chance to chat with y'all, like, share, subscribe to the channel. If you're not already, do me a solid before you go.
What's the goddamn button? See you guys tomorrow. See you next week, Rob.
All right.
Love. Appreciate y'all.
If I'm a one-hit wonder, at least I got one, huh? At least I got something, really ain't me. The beat bumping, one song could change lives. Let's see something, one joke could save lives. We gon' keep coming, keep functioning, something out of nothing. Ball-wise, I'm top 300, get your favorite artist. I'll chop it up with mutton if they haters. Your ghost could be bludgeon if they for real. We getting money, so try BS minus Negroes, button everything authentic. Stupid shit I did it, punishing myself like my mom prison. No questions, no tea, not lifting. One time for tea, being broke wasn't living. One hit wonder.